Melos was furious. He resolved that he must overthrow that wicked and tyrannical king. Melos knew nothing of politics. He was a shepherd from the village, living by playing the flute and tending to sheep. However, he was exceptionally sensitive to evil. Early this morning, Melos left his village, crossed fields and mountains, and arrived at the town of Syracuse, 10 leagues away. Melos had neither father nor mother. He had no wife. He lived with his shy 16-year-old sister, who was soon to be wed to a diligent shepherd from the village. The wedding was near, and Melos had come all the way to town to buy the bridal attire and feast for the celebration. First, he gathered those items. Then he strolled down the main street of the capital. Melos had a childhood friend, Selenuntius, who was now working as a stonemason in Syracuse. Melos intended to visit that friend. It had been a long time since they last met, and he was looking forward to the visit. As he walked, Melos began to find the town's atmosphere suspicious. It was eerily quiet. It was natural for the town to be dark since the sun had already set, but it felt as if the entire town was unusually desolate, not just because of the night. Even the carefree Melos started to feel uneasy. He grabbed a young man he met on the street and asked if something had happened, mentioning that when he came to this town 2 years ago, everyone sang even at night and the town was lively. The young man shook his head and did not answer. After walking for a while, he met an old man and asked in a stronger tone this time. The old man did not answer. Melos shook the old man's body with both hands and repeated his question. The old man, glancing around, finally answered in a low voice. The king kills people. Why does he kill them? It's said they harbor evil thoughts, but no one has such evil thoughts. Has he killed many people? Yes, first the king's brother-in-law, then his own successor, then his sister, then his sister's child, then the empress, then the wise minister Alexis. I'm shocked. Has the king lost his mind? No, it's not madness. It's that he cannot trust people. Recently, he has even begun to doubt the hearts of his subjects, and he orders anyone living even slightly extravagantly to offer a hostage. If they refuse, they are crucified and killed. Today, 6 people were killed. Hearing this, Melos was enraged. What an outrageous king! He cannot be allowed to live. Melos was a simple man. Still carrying his purchases, he lumbered into the royal castle. He was immediately caught by a patrolling officer. When searched, a dagger was found in Melos's pocket, causing a great commotion. Melos was brought before the king. What were you planning to do with this dagger? Speak! The tyrant Dionysius questioned quietly, yet with authority. His face was pale, and the furrow between his brows was deeply etched as if carved. I intend to save the city from the tyrant's grasp, Melos answered boldly. You? The king smiled with a hint of pity. You poor fool. You cannot understand my solitude. Don't say that, Melos retorted fiercely. To doubt the hearts of men is the most shameful vice. The king even doubts the loyalty of his people. It was you who taught me that doubt is the proper stance. The human heart cannot be trusted. Humans are inherently selfish, so they must not be believed, the tyrant murmured calmly and sighed with relief. Even I desire peace. Peace for what? To protect your own position. This time, Melos sneered. What peace is there in killing innocent people? Silence, you wretch. The king quickly raised his head and replied, Anyone can speak of purity with their mouth. I can see through to the depths of a person's heart. Even if you cry and apologize after being crucified, I will not listen. Ah, the king is wise. It's good to have confidence. I am prepared to die. I will never beg for my life. But, Melos began, then dropped his gaze to his feet, hesitating for a moment. But if you have any intention of showing me mercy, grant me a 3-day reprieve before execution. I want to see my only sister married. Within 3 days, I will hold a wedding in the village and return here without fail. Foolish. The tyrant laughed hoarsely in a low voice. Who would utter such absurd lies? Do you think a bird set free will return? Yes, I will return, Melos insisted desperately. I will keep my promise. Please grant me just 3 days. My sister is waiting for my return. If you cannot trust me, there is a stonemason named Selenuntius in this city. He is my dearest friend. I will leave him here as a hostage. If I escape and do not return by the evening of the 3rd day, then strangle that friend. I beg you do this. Upon hearing this, the king smiled cruelly to himself. How audacious. He won't return, that's for sure. It might be amusing to pretend to be deceived by this liar and set him free. Then, in 3 days, I shall kill the substitute man, which will be quite satisfying. I will put on a sad face and crucify that substitute, showing the world that people cannot be trusted. I want to demonstrate this to those so-called honest people. I have granted your wish. In exchange, bring someone else. Return by sunset on the third day. If you are late, I will surely kill the substitute. It would be better if you come a little late. I will forgive your sins forever. What are you saying? Haha. If your life is important, come late. I understand your feelings. Melos, frustrated, stamped his feet. He no longer wanted to say anything. Selenuntius, a childhood friend, was summoned to the royal castle at midnight. In front of the tyrant Dionysius, the two friends met again for the first time in 2 years. Melos explained everything to his friend. Selenuntius nodded silently and embraced Melos tightly. Between friends, that was enough. Selenuntius was tied with ropes. Melos set off immediately. On that early summer night, the sky was filled with countless stars. That night, Melos hurried along the 10-mile road without sleeping, arriving at the village the next morning. The sun was already high, and the villagers had gone out to work in the fields. Melos's 16-year-old sister was also watching over the flock of sheep in place of her brother. Surprised to see her brother's exhausted figure walking unsteadily, she persistently bombarded him with questions. It's nothing. Melos forced a smile. I left some business in the town. I have to go back to town soon. Tomorrow we'll hold your wedding. The sooner, the better. His sister blushed. Are you happy? I also bought a beautiful outfit. Now go and inform the villagers. The wedding is tomorrow. Melos once more began to walk unsteadily, returned home, adorned the altar of the gods, and prepared the feast. Then he collapsed onto the bed and fell into a deep sleep, as if he were not breathing. He awoke at night. As soon as Melos got up, he visited the bridegroom's house. He explained that there were certain circumstances and asked if the wedding could be postponed until the next day. The shepherd, who was the bridegroom, was surprised and said it was impossible, as they were not prepared at all, and asked Melos to wait until the grape season. Melos insisted that he could not wait and pleaded for the wedding to be held the next day. The bridegroom was stubborn and did not easily agree. They continued to argue until dawn, and finally, Melos managed to calm and persuade the bridegroom. The wedding was held at noon. Just as the bride and groom finished their vows to the gods, black clouds covered the sky, and it began to rain lightly, eventually turning into a downpour. The villagers attending the feast sensed something ominous, but they each rallied their spirits, sang cheerfully, and clapped their hands while enduring the stifling heat inside the cramped house. Melos, too, was filled with joy and for a while even forgot his promise to the king. The feast grew even more lively as night fell, and people no longer paid attention to the heavy rain outside. Melos wished he could stay there for the rest of his life. He wanted to spend his life with these wonderful people, but now his body was not his own. Things would not go as he wished. Melos steeled himself and finally resolved to depart. There was still plenty of time before sunset the next day. He thought he would leave after a short rest. By then, the rain would likely have subsided. He wanted to linger in this house as long as possible. Even a man like Melos had feelings of attachment. Approaching the bride, who seemed to be dazed with joy that night, "Congratulations. I'm exhausted, so I'd like to rest and sleep a little. Once I wake up, I'll head to the city immediately. I have an important matter to attend to. Even without me, you now have a kind husband, so you shouldn't feel lonely. The thing your brother hates most is doubting people and telling lies. You know that, don't you? You must not keep any secrets from your husband. That's all I want to say to you. Your brother is probably a great man, so you should take pride in that." The bride nodded as if she were dreaming. Melos then patted the bridegroom on the shoulder. "It's the same for both of us, not being prepared. In my house, the only treasures are my sister and the sheep. There's nothing else. I'll give them all to you, and be proud to have become Melos's brother-in-law." The bridegroom was embarrassed, rubbing his hands together. Melos laughed, bowed to the villagers, left the banquet, and slipped into the sheepfold, where he slept deeply as if dead. He awoke at dawn the next day. Melos jumped up, thinking, "Oh no, have I overslept?" But no, it was still all right. If he left immediately, he would have plenty of time to make it by the promised time. Today he must show that king the sincerity of people. And he would laugh as he ascended the crucifixion platform. Melos began to prepare himself slowly. The rain seemed to have let up a bit. He was ready. Then, Melos swung his arms wide and dashed through the rain like an arrow. "I will be killed tonight. I am running to be killed. I am running to save the friend who took my place. I am running to thwart the king's treachery. I must run, and I will be killed. Preserve your honor from a young age. Farewell, my homeland." Young Melos was in pain. He almost stopped many times. Shouting loudly to scold himself, he ran. After leaving the village, crossing the fields and passing through the forest, by the time he reached the neighboring village, the rain had stopped, The sun was high, and it was getting hotter. Melos wiped the sweat from his forehead with his fist, thinking that now he was fine, with no lingering attachment to his homeland. His sister would surely make a good couple. He should have no worries now. As long as he reached the king's castle straight away, that would be enough. There was no need to rush. He decided to walk leisurely, regaining his usual carefree nature, and began to sing a favorite little song in a good voice. He walked aimlessly for 2 leagues, 3 leagues, and just as he was about to reach the halfway point of the entire journey, a sudden disaster struck, and Melos's feet came to an abrupt halt. Behold the river ahead. Due to yesterday's torrential rain, the mountain's water source had overflowed. The muddy current gathered downstream, and with great force it destroyed the bridge, the raging torrent tossing the bridge girders like leaves. He stood there in a daze. He looked around and called out at the top of his voice, but all the ferry boats had been swept away by the waves, and there was no sign of the ferryman. The current swelled even more, becoming like the sea. Melos crouched on the riverbank, weeping like a man, raising his hands to Zeus in supplication. "Oh, please calm the raging current." Time is passing by the moment. The sun is already at its zenith. If I cannot reach the king's castle before it sets, that good friend will die because of me. The torrent raged more violently, as if mocking Melos's cries. The waves swallowed, surged, and whipped up, while time slipped away moment by moment. Now Melos was resolved. He had no choice but to swim across. Oh gods, watch over me. Now is the time to demonstrate the great power of love and sincerity that will not be defeated by the torrent. Melos plunged into the current with a splash, beginning a desperate struggle against the waves that writhed and raged like 100 great serpents. Pouring all his strength into his arms, he pushed through the surging, swirling, dragging current, thinking nothing of it. And in his reckless, lion-hearted struggle, even the gods took pity on him, finally showing mercy. Though swept along, he managed to cling to the trunk of a tree on the opposite bank. Grateful, Melos shook his body like a horse, took a deep breath, and immediately hurried on. Not a moment could be wasted. The sun was already sinking in the west. Panting heavily, he climbed the pass, and just as he felt relieved after reaching the top, a band of mountain bandits suddenly appeared before him. "Stop! What are you doing?" "I must reach the royal castle before sunset." "Let me pass." "No, I absolutely won't let you go. Leave everything you have behind. I have nothing but my life, and even that life I am about to offer to the king. It is that life I want." "I see. You were lying in wait for me here on the king's orders." The bandits, without a word, simultaneously raised their clubs. Melos swiftly bent his body, attacked one of them nearby like a swooping bird, and snatched away his club. "I pity you, but it's for justice!" Melos shouted, delivering a fierce blow, and quickly knocked down 3 of them. Taking advantage of the moment when the remaining ones hesitated, he swiftly ran down the pass. Though he dashed down the pass in one go, he was utterly exhausted, and the scorching afternoon sun beat down directly, causing Melos to feel dizzy multiple times. "This won't do," he thought, pulling himself together, and staggered a few steps before finally collapsing to his knees. He could not stand up. Looking up at the sky, he burst into tears of frustration. Melos, who swam through the torrent, defeated 3 bandits, and broke through to this point. True hero, Melos. It's pathetic to become unable to move here, exhausted. My beloved friend, because he trusted me, will soon have to be killed. I am a person of unparalleled distrust, precisely what the king wanted, he scolded himself. But his entire body was drained, unable to move forward even as much as a caterpillar. He lay down on the roadside grass. When the body is exhausted, the spirit is also affected. An unbecoming, sulky mindset for a hero, "I don't care anymore," took root in the corner of his heart. I have tried so hard, not a shred of intention to break my promise. God is my witness, I have done my utmost. I ran until I could no longer move. I am not a person of distrust. If only I could open my chest and show you my crimson heart. I want to show you this heart that moves only with the blood of love and faithfulness. But at this crucial moment, I have exhausted all my energy and spirit. I am truly an unfortunate man. I will surely be laughed at. My family will be laughed at. I have deceived my friend. Collapsing halfway is the same as doing nothing from the start. I don't care anymore. This might be my destined fate. Selenuntius, forgive me. You have always trusted me. I have not deceived you. We were truly good friends. Not once did we harbor a cloud of dark suspicion in our hearts. Even now you must be waiting for me with an open heart. You must be waiting. Thank you, Selenuntius. Thank you for trusting me. Thinking of that, it's unbearable. The faithfulness between friends is the most precious treasure in this world. Selenuntius, I ran. I had not the slightest intention of deceiving you. Believe me. I hurried to get here. I broke through the torrent. I slipped out of the bandits' encirclement and dashed down the pass in one go. It was possible because it was me. Don't expect any more from me. Leave me be. I don't care. I have lost. It's pathetic. Laugh at me. The king whispered to me to come a little late. He promised that if I was late, he would kill the substitute and spare me. I hated the king's cowardice. But now I am doing exactly as the king said. I will arrive late. The king will laugh at me, thinking he's won, and then release me without incident. If that happens, it will be more painful than death. I will be an eternal traitor, the most dishonorable person on earth. Selenuntius, I will die too. Let me die with you. Surely you will trust me. No? Is that also my self-centeredness? Should I just live on as a wicked person? I have a house in the village. There are sheep. My sister and her husband surely won't drive me out of the village. Justice, faithfulness, love, when you think about it, are trivial. Killing others to live oneself, wasn't that the rule of the human world? Everything is ridiculous. I am an ugly traitor. Do as you please. Alas. He threw out his limbs and dozed off. Suddenly, he heard the sound of water flowing gently. He quietly raised his head, held his breath, and listened intently. It seemed water was flowing right at his feet. When he staggered to his feet to look, clear water was gushing out from a crack in the rock, whispering softly. Drawn to the spring, Melos bent down. He scooped the water with both hands and took a sip. A long sigh escaped him, and he felt as if he had awakened from a dream. He could walk. Let's go. As his physical fatigue recovered, a small hope was born. It was the hope of fulfilling his duty, the hope of sacrificing himself to protect his honor. The setting sun cast red light on the leaves of the trees, making both leaves and branches shine as if burning. There was still time before sunset. There is someone waiting for me. Someone who trusts me without a doubt and quietly expects me. I am trusted. My life is not the issue. I cannot say something as carefree as dying to apologize. I must respond to that trust. Now that is the only thing. Run, Melos! I am trusted. I am trusted. That devil's whisper from earlier was just a dream. A bad dream. Let's forget it. When one's spirit is weary, such bad dreams tend to occur. Melos, it is not your shame. Indeed, you are a true hero. Haven't you risen again and started running? How grateful I am. I can die as a man of justice. The sun is setting. It's sinking rapidly. Wait, Zeus. I have been an honest man since the day I was born. Let me die as an honest man. Pushing aside and knocking over the people on the road, Melos ran like a black wind. He dashed through the middle of a banquet in the fields, startling the revelers, kicking dogs, leaping over streams, and running 10 times faster than the slowly sinking sun. As he swiftly passed by a group of travelers, an ominous conversation reached his ears. By now, that man must have been crucified. For that man, I am running like this now. I must not let that man die. Hurry, Melos! You must not be late. Now is the time to show the power of love and sincerity. Appearance doesn't matter. Melos was now almost completely naked. He couldn't breathe, and twice, thrice, blood spurted from his mouth. He could see it. Far in the distance, the tower of the city of Syracuse appeared small. The tower was glittering in the setting sun. Master Melos. A moaning voice came riding on the wind. Who is it? Melos asked as he ran. It's Philostratus. I am a disciple of your friend, Master Selenuntius. The young stonemason shouted as he pursued Melos. It's no use. It's futile. Please stop running. You can no longer save him. No, the sun has not set yet. Right now he's about to be executed. You were too late. It's frustrating. If only you had been just a little bit faster. No, the sun is not set yet. With a heart that felt like it would burst, Melos kept his eyes fixed only on the large red setting sun. All he could do was run. Please stop. Stop running. Your own life is important now. He believed in you. Even when he was brought to the execution ground, he remained calm. No matter how much the king mocked him, he only answered, Melos will come, and continued to show strong conviction. That's exactly why I run. I run because I am trusted. Whether I make it in time is not the issue. A person's life is not the issue. I'm running for something far more terrifying and grand. Follow me, Philostratus. Have you gone mad? If so, then run with all your might. Perhaps you might make it in time. Run. Needless to say, the sun had not yet set. Summoning his last ounce of strength, Melos ran. His mind was blank. He thought of nothing, simply driven by an inexplicable, immense force. As the sun wavered on the horizon and was about to disappear completely, Melos burst into the execution ground like a gust of wind. He made it in time. Wait. Do not kill that man. Melos has returned. As promised, he has returned now. He intended to shout this to the crowd at the execution ground, but only a faint, hoarse voice emerged from his crushed throat, and no one in the crowd noticed his arrival. The crucifixion post was already erected high, and Selenuntius, bound with ropes, was gradually being hoisted up. Witnessing this, Melos mustered his last strength and, as if swimming through a torrent, pushed his way through the crowd. "It's me, executioner! I am the one to be killed. It is I, Melos. I, who took him hostage, am here!" He shouted with all his might in a hoarse voice, finally climbing onto the crucifixion platform and clinging to the legs of his friend who was being hoisted up. The crowd murmured in awe. "Bravo." "Forgive him!" they shouted in unison. Selenuntius's ropes were untied. "Selenuntius," Melos said with tears in his eyes, "hit me. Strike my cheek with all your might. I had a bad dream once along the way. If you don't hit me, I don't even deserve to embrace you. Hit me." Selenuntius nodded as if understanding everything, and struck Melos's right cheek with a sound that echoed throughout the execution ground. After hitting him, he smiled gently. "Melos, hit me! Strike my cheek with the same sound. During these 3 days, I doubted you just once. For the first time in my life, I doubted you. If you don't hit me, I cannot embrace you." Melos gathered strength in his arm and struck Selenuntius's cheek. "Thank you, my friend," they said simultaneously, embracing each other tightly, and then burst into joyful tears. From within the crowd, the sound of sobbing could be heard. The tyrant Dionysius, who had been watching the two intently from behind the crowd, eventually approached them quietly, his face flushed, and said, "Your wish has been fulfilled. You have conquered my heart. Truth is not a mere illusion. Please, won't you allow me to join you? I implore you, hear my plea and make me one of your companions." A cheer erupted from the crowd. "Hooray, long live the king!" A young girl offered a red cloak to Melos. Melos was bewildered, but a close friend kindly explained. "Melos, you're exposed, aren't you? You should quickly put on that cloak. This dear girl is quite upset that everyone can see you like this." The hero blushed deeply.